Saira, let's start the study circle with 3 ohms. Oh, oh. Dear Swami, we are so grateful to be able to meet here together in your presence today. While we are here together studying your word in your Bhagavata Vahini, we ask that you open our ears and hearts to whatever it is you want us to learn. Please speak through each one of us and help us progress in our spiritual journey. Jai Saira. Sairam, everyone. Today we will start our study circle with a meditation. And just a reminder to mute your cell phones. Let's all sit in a very comfortable position so you're not changing positions during the meditation. And it's okay to sit on the chairs as well if that is something that's comfortable for you. And let's be respectful in our discussions and speak from our heart and listen with humility. Of course, today's session onwards, we are trying to go inwards. We are trying to get our get the reflection on all our discussions in the past 97 sessions. So with that in mind, let's start the meditation first.
The Ashtavakra Gita, as translated by Bard Marshall. This is the second chapter, the joy of self-realization. Having listened to Ashtavakra, Janaka now sees through the illusion of the persona and realizes the true self. In the joy of self-knowledge, he does not speak as Janaka, a person. The word I no longer means that. Janaka said, I am now spotless and at peace. Awareness beyond consciousness. All this time I have been duped by illusion. By this light alone, the body and the universe appear. I am everything or nothing. Seeing there is no universe or body, by grace the self is revealed. As waves, foam, and bubbles are not different from water, so the universe emanating from self is not different from self. Look closely at cloth, you see only threads. Look closely at creation, you see only self. As sweetness pervades sugarcane juice, I am the essence of creation. Not seeing self, the world is materialized. Seeing self, the world is vanished. A rope is not a snake, but can appear to be. I am not other than light. The universe manifests at my glance. The mirage of universe appears in me as silver appears in mother of pearl, as a snake appears in a rope, as water appears on a desert horizon. As a pot returns to clay, a wave to water, a bracelet to gold, so will the universe return to me. I am wonderful indeed, beyond adoration. I cannot decay nor even die, though God and all the universe should perish to the last blade of grass. I am wonderful indeed, beyond adoration. Even with the body, I am one. I neither come nor go. I am everywhere at once. I am wonderful indeed, beyond adoration. I am astounded at my powers. The universe appears within me, but I do not touch it. I am wonderful indeed, beyond adoration. I am everything taught or spoken, and have nothing. In reality, knowledge, the knower, and the knowable do not exist. I am the transparent self, in which through ignorance they appear. Looking at one and seeing many is the cause of all misery. The only cure is to realize what is seen is not there. I am one, aware, blissful, immaculate. I am unbounded awareness. Only in imagination do I have limits. Reflecting on this, I abide in the Absolute. I am neither free nor bound. The illusion of such things has fallen into disbelief. Though I contain creation, it has no substance. Having seen for certain that this universe and body is without form or substance, I am revealed as awareness alone. Imagination has no place here. The body exists only in imagination, as do heaven and hell. Bondage, freedom, fear, are these my concern? I, who am pure awareness. I see no differences or separation. Even the multitudes appear as a single formless desert. To what should I cling? I am not the body. I do not have a body. I am awareness, not a person. My thirst for life bound me to a seeming of life. In the limitless ocean of myself, the winds of the mind roil the myriad waves of the world. But when the wind subsides in the limitless ocean, the ark of personhood is swallowed up, along with the universe it carries. And how wonderful it is! In the limitless ocean of myself, waves of beings arise, collide, play for a time, then disappear, as is their nature. Some of what Janaka says here is questioned and refined by Stavakra later in the dialogue. But for now, let us consider these insights that are had at the exact moment of self-realization. I am now spotless and at peace awareness beyond consciousness. Do you remember when the search began and you didn't even know what the word consciousness meant? When you thought consciousness was something contained inside this body? The sensing, feeling, knowing in this moment as it is appearing to you, that is consciousness. All that is seen, all that is heard, all that is sensed or felt or known. But you are not only that. Liberation is to know yourself as awareness alone. Awareness beyond consciousness. The unmanifest, unconditioned, formless reality on which even consciousness depends. Since you, the self, are aware of consciousness, you can be called awareness, having no form whatsoever. You are spotless, perfect, peace itself. All this time, you have been duped by illusion, focused on the forms, the passing experiences, trying to define yourself to what appeared later. By this light alone, the body and the universe appear. I am everything or nothing. The self is formless and thus can have no reflection. Consciousness only reflects the functioning of the body. All experiences, mundane or spiritual, are still only reflecting the capacity of the mind, which is dependent on this body. But awareness is the light in which the mind, the body, and this entire subjective universe appear. The basis of everything, and yet nothing in terms of phenomena, in terms of experiences. No particular thing, not an experience, not a state. Within this pure light, pure subjectivity, some forms appear and are known. That is consciousness. Seeing that there is no universe or body, by grace the self is revealed. What you know as the body is not really the body. What you see as the universe is not really the universe. Whatever is known is only consciousness. The body and the universe are just this consciousness, the light of awareness shining, made manifest. Seeing that nothing objective or subjective exists in itself as something apart from consciousness, and realizing the basis of it all, the self is revealed. As waves, foam, and bubbles are not different from water, so the universe emanating from self is not different from self. Look closely at cloth, you see only thread. Look closely at creation, you see only self. As sweetness pervades sugarcane juice, I am the essence of creation. Look closely at what is seen, and it's just the seeing. And if you question what is the seeing, it is nothing other than awareness. Not seeing self, the world is materialized. Seeing self, the world is vanished. A rope is not a snake, but can appear to be. This is the meaning of the analogy. When the self is taken to be an individual subject or an object in the world, then the world is material, physical, a separate thing, a part of an objective reality. But when the self is seen to be awareness alone, then there is no separate world. And all the forms that appear, if you look at them closely, are nothing other than awareness. I am not other than light. The universe manifests at my glance. The mirage of universe appears in me as silver appears in mother of pearl, as a snake appears in a rope, as water appears on a desert horizon. It seems like something has appeared out of nothing, but that something is really nothing. And what the mind considers nothing is reality itself, pure awareness, which is you, unknowable, incomprehensible to the mind. As a pot returns to clay, a wave to water, a bracelet to gold, so will the universe return to me. There is no creation or destruction, birth or death, existence and inexistence. All forms are the expressions of the one reality, awareness. Nothing can be gained or lost. Everything must sum up to zero. And that zero is abundance, infinity, the inexhaustible possibility, and the power to manifest that possibility.
Sai Ram, we can take a minute. Okay, Sai Ram, I did not play this entire video, but basically this video brings together the essence of the self. It's a non-dual sitting, I would call it, more than meditation, just to make sure that we understand who we truly are. With that, we'll move along. I have not had the chance to listen to last week's session. It's been a busy week for me, but we did discuss the quote from Swami about consciousness and conscience. And I have tried to put things the way I remember, but maybe I'm totally wrong. So I apologize in advance. But basically, we talked about what the terms mean. We talked about the importance of understanding these terms. We talked about qualities that are needed. We focused on purity. We talked about how we can achieve this purity through calm mind and being grateful, being some of them, being able to do the service and able to dedicate all actions to the divine. So those are very high level. I have not had the chance to listen, but I can change it once I do when I go back and I have the time. So we did end talking about being able to practice unity or seeing everything as one. We talked about detachment, and we talked about how our desires impact ourselves. So if there is anything anyone would like to add, absolutely, this is a great time. Okay, Sairam. So today I thought this is our 98th session. We have just a couple more left. And I thought today we will start with reflection. When I say reflection, what I thought was we would go through our journey of our sessions from session 1 onwards, which was just setting the intention and then moving along to what our discussions based, I try to put it in one word. Of course, Chat GPT helped me with my review and gave me this one sentence. So not that everything is perfect, but at least it gave me an idea of how we can start going through this. Of course, it's not it's not about right or wrong. It's all about just how our journey has been and how what we can take from this. So we started talking about in our first session, 98 sessions ago, on setting the intention on why we chose Bhagavata Vahini, what are the values that we are trying to derive, and what are the lessons that we can learn. We talked about the setting of Bhagavata, starting with Parikshit, and what is it that, what are the qualities that he imbibed. We talked about faith and divine protection, just when we started our first chapter, moving along to freedom from the fear of astrology, when we talked about Dharmaraja and detachment from desires. We talked about overcoming delusion through awareness, sealing on desires as spiritual practice, and receiving God's grace only through surrender. We did talk a lot about dharma. Of course, this has always come back. We started talking about dharma as path to inner happiness. And then we had a discussion on ego versus devotion, on how our egos impact our bhakti marga, or the spiritual practices. And in our 10th session, I think we talked about equanimity and how our actions should reflect that. 11th, we did talk about free will within divine will. And I think this was a very intense session where we had a lot of participation. So it was one of those fun moments. And then we talked about living in the present moment and how hard that can be. We did continue our discussion with purpose of life and right action. We followed it along with selfless action and how it should be guided by values. There was a lot of discussion on Swami's values and how we bring it into practice every day, how we can bring it to practice every day. We did talk about true surrender in daily life, awareness as witness. That was the first time we actually started discussing that after our Gita Vahini, and decision making through conscience. Basically just listening to your intellect versus emotion based. We did talk about renunciation of me and mine. There was a lot of discussion on renunciation and acceptance also as a renunciation. We also talked about attachment to God, only to God, and how that can help with renunciation. So this is the first 20 sessions, and I just purposed it in a line, but this is where our takeaways. So today I'm going to be talking a lot, and you may get bored of my voice, but how can I apply any of these lessons as a starting point in my life to move? I would call it closer to God, but closer to gaining inner peace, whatever that works for you. But how can we apply any of these lessons that we talked about, to help us in our progress? What desire, attachment, or thought can I let go of today to live with more awareness and surrender? So, we can all discuss, we can If there is something that you can share, that will be great. B, you can also write this down if there is anything that you would like to. I'd strongly encourage everyone to at least take a note of it on your cell phones, because you will forget. This is not something we all tend to remember on what we thought at this moment today, on what our desire or attachment or thought that we can let go. A lot of reflection. Uh, if there is an, yeah, I don't want to put people on the spot, but if anyone can share, that would be great. So if you want to take a picture of this, this is our daily reflection journal that you can use. This is my thought. It doesn't have to be for you, but this is one way of writing. We'll go back to the previous one also. So this morning when I thought about this, I was actually traveling. So I thought, oh, one thing I'm grateful for that that I have, I mean, I was on time and I landed on time. That's what I thought this morning. And then suddenly that changed right away when my flight got delayed by 2 hours. So my point is that when I had a connection flight, and when I left in the morning at 6 o'clock from San Antonio, I was very grateful. Oh my God, everything worked out great. It's on time. And the minute, this 2 hour delay happened at the airport, I didn't think about the gratitude. I did not think about the gratefulness. I always thought, oh, now what? Swami, now you did this. I have to be there, come back, be there for the study circle. So my point is that when we try the one desire, one attachment, one thing, it's so easily, it's just taken over by that moment of disappointment or whatever that, something that you wanted to achieve and don't achieve. So this is just my story, but along those lines, it has taught me at least to catch myself when I was not, this is the same thing I was grateful for about 2 hours ago, and then, felt differently later.
Sairam. So about grateful, being grateful, that is very true. We individually, anyway, we think about ourselves only all the time. So if I can take your example, for us, it was the rain. So we thought, oh God, let it not rain today. But it was. When we started, it started. And then we have to come tunnel. So we were approaching tunnel. We saw a board saying 1 hour delay. So we thinking, should we take the monitor Medimac or stick with this? And then after some time, it said 30 minutes. Oh, wow, that's not too bad. 30 minutes is a great. So Shankar said, let's stick to the usual route. So we stuck to the tunnel route, Hampton roads. 30 minutes was not bad. And it was raining on and off, but it was not a severe rain. So I was so grateful. Oh God, let's reach there. Whether I go or not, the idlis have to reach today. So commit. I'm not going to commit for food anymore. So I can cancel last minute. So we can say Swami wanted idlis today. So we reached here. And the rain started afterwards only. Heavy rain. I didn't think of other people. I thought, they will make it, they live close by. But then other people thought about me. Thank you. They thought, oh, the Uma is here, not today, in the heavy rain. So what I'm trying to say is we always think everything is about us, what is good for me, mine, and myself. That kind of a thing, that kind of a thought that we have to go a little bit above, beyond, So that's hard to do, but that is why we are here. We need to practice.
In my little happiness, I was happy that I caught myself and I was able to kind of go back and just, at that moment itself, instead of after a day, it has happened after a week or whatever, but now time has cut short to.
Also about desire, attachment, and all that. Recently, I had the epiphany that, so easy to talk about all that. When something hits you, something happens, and then I was upset with myself for reacting the way I was reacting to the situation. And those are the teaching moments, if you think where you are. And then I listened to my favorite talks, and Swami Sarvapriyananda said that we think we are progressing in spiritual path. Sometimes it happens that we hit a roadblock, we do something. I don't think we are doing unethical things, but he was saying, either unethical or even the thought or the reaction. Exactly, this is what he said. So don't think you are not progressing. Don't think it is a defeat. These things will happen all the time, no matter how progress that you think you have made, because we are so conditioned by our mind. So as long as we are bound by that, this desire, attachment, and all that, these kind of slips will happen. But then don't let that stop you. You keep going forward. That's the message I got. So I thought, okay, it's not too bad.
And I'm just reminded of an event that occurred in the year 2000, right at Puttaparthi, right after Swami's birthday, talk. And we were walking back, and that morning it rained. When we walked to the stadium, it did not rain. And when he came to give darshan, it was all clear. And then we were walking back, rain, it was clouding up. So I reached, it was extremely crowded. We are, we just stand there and people will push you. That is a kind of situation. It was the 75th birthday of Swami. So it was, tremendous crowd. Then I reached the place, where we were staying, and then it started pouring. So I'm thinking here, thanking Swami. Oh, everything went nice, so beautiful. And then you just look out and then realize you are lucky, but there are people coming there who are, drenching, So that was, again, a moment, you just think about you and, yes, he helped, what about them, So last week you had given an example where, about the plane accident or,
Yes.
something
Mhm.
that, I think the progress we need to make is, how do we feel? We have to get the same feeling like your kith and kin were there,
Right.
or other people who are there. And I think that is probably something that we need to work on.
Absolutely. Yes. Remember, when you write this journal, I wanted to actually point out that Mahatma Gandhi did it, and this is why I just wanted to say this. Mahatma Gandhi wrote a journal every day, and he wrote it for just that moment, as in one desire, one thought that came to him that he would release at that moment on that day. It was not something that he thought that he would be able to go beyond every day. This is through Eknath Ishwaran's book on Gandhiji. And so he was just talking about just one moment, because he always felt that his mind can go back. It took him a long time to come to a place where he was consistent with his reflections. So again, the reflection, I just want to point out, it's not something that will last throughout. Sometimes it may, but you don't have to worry about it. Today, if you have an attachment that you choose to release, it would be great to go back and look at it when you are, or one desire, whatever it is that you decide to write about. It is great to go back and review it, and at least you'll be reminded of that moment. Okay. All right. So this is moving along. I'm just going to review all our sessions from the 21st one. We continued our discussion on renouncing, what to renounce and what kind of practices should we imbibe. We moved along to talking about the seer seen Drigdrishya Viveka. In a lot of ways, a lot of talk was about that. We talked about awareness, consciousness, and Maya. And then we continued, I think, a few sessions just on Maya. We had Maya as the mirror, where we talked about our ignorance. We talked about how reflection would help, and what equanimity means. And then we talked about the consciousness, mind, and Maya across the three states of being, which is waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. We did continue talking about the training of the mind for purification, discipline, and moksha. And then we talked about practices of managing the mind, processing, goals, and daily practice. We talked about the infinite capacity of the mind and intellect, and the tools that will help us master not only the mind, but also build our intellect to help us guide in the right way. And we continued our discussion with the 3 Ds of divinity, discrimination, and detachment. We talked about duty, which is duty versus comfort. We talked about the path of forgiveness to begin with. So yeah, we focused a lot on the mind. And after I read through our review sessions, I felt there was a lot of discussion on Maya. I think that is because Umaji's favorite topic, and I think we just discussed and continued that. And but also on the mind, we had different aspects that we had talked about. So any of these things that can help you today, you may not remember that, but you may remember that you were the one that you talked about it. So you were there participating in these discussions. Up until Swami's 99th birthday, again, we talked about the strength of forgiveness. We talked about how important love is for that. 32nd session, we talked about, again, repentance, forgiveness, and liberation. And then 33, 34, we focused on dharma. And 35, we moved along to intuition, omens, and balancing duty with spiritual growth. This was all with respect to the chapter where Yudhishthira, Dharmaraja, was looking at all the omen, not feeling too positive, even though he was he himself has been in apart with Krishna. We talked about fearlessness through inner happiness and God proximity and how that helps. And then we moved along to talk about knowledge, jnana, karma, action, and grace, and how grace is important for karmic consequences. We discussed grief in detail, a lot of discussion on grief and how to deal with it through prayer and surrender. We then continued with devotion, again, how that is important to manage grief, and how Namasmarana helps. That's what we did up until session 40. And then we had Brother Piyush Gayal talk about, sorry, now that is skipping my mind, but we had Swami's 99th birthday speech. 3Ds. Yes, 3Ds. Thank you. I had written that down and I could not remember it. Okay. So again, a few takeaways questions. Peace, right? D, I thought you. Purity. We talked purity. Yeah. Completely forgot. I'm blank. Anyway, so these are a few questions that came up to me. It doesn't have to be you, but this is just something that you can probably think of. How can awareness of the mind, Maya, and consciousness guide us in living with clarity and purpose? In what ways do renunciation, forgiveness, and dharma help us transform? Is it? That reminds me. So I was, it's one of my favorite books. Eknath Easwaran's Gandhi is one of my favorite books. One of the, I think someone asks him to describe his life's purpose in 25 words. And he says, I can do it in 3. He says, renounce and enjoy. So, Gandhiji reached that kind of a stage. And of course, he always said it is due to Bhagavad Gita. But renunciation is that important. How can devotion, faith, and surrender sustain us through fear, grief, and life's challenges? I think a lot of us talked about it. Just wanted to remind everyone to see if you can put something in place for you to remember when you review it again. And if anyone wants to add something, this is a great time. It is an open discussion. It just seems like I have a monologue, but that's not the intention. I just don't want to put anyone else on the spot, but definitely.
Sairam,
Yes.
I just want to add here the definition that Swami had given for renunciation. He said renunciation is the process of battling the evil forces and holding the mind in check. I think what I can get from this is many times, we are very happy when we want something, that want is satisfied. We might even gone through a prayer and asking God. When he gives that, say, oh, thank you. Oh, God has satisfied that need. But what happens when he does not? You ask for something, it does not. Most of the time, we are not there.
Yeah.
We are not there to thank him for not giving what we wanted.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what he means here. What he means by the evil forces is, you have to the mind has to battle that and say that is also good for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he calls, I think he defines renunciation. I think that is practice that I don't know how we continue to do, and at least maybe at that moment we are reacting to the emotions, but at least we should think about it later and say, oh, maybe this is good for us. And that is a reflection I think we need to go through all the time.
Sairam, I can't speak for everyone, but for myself, I will say this. So when we first started Bhagavatha Vahini, like you said, we wanted to set an intention, sankalpa. And I set mine at the time because now you see with all these sessions, there's so much we discussed, so many topics. It's For me, it is literally impossible to focus on so many things every single day. It doesn't work for me. So I set the sankalpa to attain some purity of mind, like chitta suddhi, right? That was one of the thing, and samabhava to everyone. So every morning I start my prayers with the two, remind myself of the two intentions that I set, and reflect on them throughout the day. So it is easy for me to, because there are two things that I'm focusing on. Whenever I make mistakes, whenever I make something, it brings me back to realize, okay, I'm not doing the right things today. I'm not thinking right, I need to get back. And slowly, I can see the progress. It's very slow, very, very slow, but it is happening. So of course, everybody is different. If someone wants to do these things every day, read about them, and improve on themselves, that's fine. But if not, pick one or two things and practice until you get perfect at those things, right? At least somewhat in, some progress before you move on to the next thing. That may be helpful for some people, but it is what I'm doing.
Very nicely put. Thank you so much, Shobha, for sharing. It really matters. Yes. Thank you. And for me, it has been Namasmarana. So I am focused on that. Of course, gratitude comes with it. For me.
So I want to also add here, as we went through the beginning of our sessions,
Mhm.
then we got into the Vahini itself. It was the thing that hit me very hard, and I cannot get up from that even now, is that what Krishna had to go through. The description of what Krishna faced in his own kingdom and his own, disappearance from this world was very sad, very unfathomable to me. That God when he was there, all this is happening, and he had no control.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made me drop into a small particle, and then there is nothing, in this. What is it that he could not do? What am I going to be learning here and trying to understand? So I think that I still cannot come out of.
Oh, okay. Anyone else have anything to add? What Shankaranji mentioned is pretty deep.
Is the K Sara, whatever will be, it will be.
Yes.
So if we come to that conclusion, then why bother with anything? Even Krishna's kith and kin, they fought with each other, and Krishna resigned to the fact that it is so. Then is it the karma? I don't know. There are a lot of questions, but that is one part of it. Krishna did a lot of different things in Mahabharata also, right? He interfered at certain places. He didn't interfere in many places. So there's a grand scheme of things. I don't think we will ever understand that with our limited mind. But basically what we can take, it's amazing that we have covered this many topics.
That's all. That also is something.
It's overwhelming. Did we all talk about all these things? So something must have gone inside us, whether we realize or not. I hope some good things, some of these pointers. Yeah.
And a lot of them who are here today have been through at least 60 to 70% of the sessions. So, again, we can go back and review those because we have it online. I'm in the process of creating a channel so that, once you click our center YouTube, you can see the channel for Bhagavata Vahini, and you will also be able to see the channel for Gita Vahini, because we didn't record all sessions of Gita Vahini, but at least we had what's uncle's name who came in, Ashok uncle, right? Yeah. We do have his recording. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, whatever it is that you want to, I want, something that we can attribute to the 100 sessions that we have gone through. And because it is for Swami's 100th birthday, we are also ending this on October 4th with the thought that maybe by his 100th, you would have thought about one thing that you can focus on for this year, or for him, give up for him, because sometimes that helps our mind. If you're giving up for something higher than you, some power higher than you, that's how we focus on things as well. So if that is your path, then this is a great time to do that, on whatever it is that you can achieve. Again, I just put in a little daily reflection session. I know I put this in a question instead of a statement, but basically, how did any of these discussions help me see the role of mind, Maya, and consciousness? What attachment, desires, or patterns I can transform into growth through renunciation, forgiveness, or right action. It could be a simple, annoyance with your child or with your spouse. It is as simple as that, to forgive. And then how can I apply faith, devotion, or surrender to face challenges? It could be fear, grief, or uncertainty, doesn't matter. But basically, of course, there's a lot of uncertainty in today's world and day and time. So faith is something that can drive us through. So whatever it is that you would like to add here.
I want to add one more thing here. And I'm reminded of, many times people are asked Swami and go to him and ask for something.
Yeah.
And you will never get a clear answer.
Everyone says that.
Yes. So whatever you say, he'll reflect back and say, yeah, that's good. And you say something opposite to that, he'll say, yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So, and so that kind of tells me that, that answer has to come from within. And so we have to constantly look at that and, think, is this the right thing? Is this the right thing? And you have to keep thinking. And just because an answer comes, it could be the mind that is giving that answer. So I think that, when we talk about surrender, whatever comes, you have to accept. So at that point, is this the right answer? Everything is the right answer. So that's
Right.
what I'm.
Absolutely. Again, that depends on how much faith you have developed through your experiences. So, yeah. I know we don't have enough time to go through, but we will do the same thing next Saturday, followed by Yoga Nidra meditation, and that's for a Saturday. This Thursday we will be watching a video on the importance of Bhagavata Vahini and the lessons that come of it. That is the goal for the next two sessions, to focus on how what we can imbibe, what we can take away. I am also toying with the idea of the same way that every one of you has given me reflection on the Gayatri chanting, if we can do that for reflection on Bhagavata Vahini. As a gift to Swami for his 100th birthday. Yes, please go ahead. I think you wanted to say something, Manoj? Yeah, please go ahead.
It has gone very serious today. So I have, after so many sessions, I have learned to surrender and seek forgiveness from my spouse. Always surrender and seek forgiveness. That's so, yeah, be it anyone. There's there's always a scope of seeking forgiveness. It's giving forgiveness, again, is associates with ego.
Yes.
I am forgiving. I am the forgiver. That again is a, I mean, at least at our level. I mean, at a later level, it can be, but at least at our level,
Right.
oh, I forgive. So that again provokes another cycle of ego. So we don't want to go there. Seeking forgiveness is easy and helps you get rid of that ego also. Sometimes you're not wrong. Even then, there's nothing wrong in seeking forgiveness. Leave it up to him. When we were doing all the service back home, many times it was not your fault, but we still used to get scolded. So should we feel bad about it? No, even then, it is just to beat our ego down. So we're going to beat our ego down. So there's nothing wrong in that. Whatever can keep us low, with low ego, that's what we have learned.
So I slightly differ from you regarding forgiving others. It is not you telling verbally you forgive them. It is mentally kind of letting go of that so that you are not constantly thinking about the same thing and brewing that stuff in your mind, right? That is so poisonous for you because your mind is so occupied. How did they say that? Why did they say that? How dare they say that? Should I will never go there. So all those things, you just, if you let it go, this is just, they are them, you are you. You don't take that personally. When you go with that process, automatically you don't have to say forgiveness. Automatically, when you let go, your mind doesn't think about it. You're done.
Yes.
Right?
Sairam.
Sairam.
Yeah, as Manoj said, it's very intense. Just reflecting all the topics that we had discussed. I think we covered the entire gamut of spirituality as Swami.
A lot of topics wise, yes.
A lot of topics. I think the essence of Swami's messages have been covered through this Bhagavatha. And that is the intent with which we started, I think. But for me, the whole essence is what we discussed in the recent few sessions about being in the moment. That is one thing. And that means not looking back and then blaming ourselves or blaming others. All those things are waste because it's gone.
Yeah.
And you have to only think, if at all we have to think about the past, it's only for correcting our mistakes, if at all there is any going forward, because that's the only thing we can do. We cannot go and correct or change anything that happened. The second is surrender. So complete the total unconditional surrender. And these are the two things that appeal, and then that's a constant sadhana to work on. And I think that is my takeaway of the whole thing. If I have to put it as just a two, as I said, I mean, we have covered the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every session is important. Every discussion
in its own way.
Every point is important.
Sairam,
Thank you.
They both broke one more thought on my mind. So I want to say one thing is ultimately we have to find peace within us. So whatever be the thing you find the peace. So that come to my mind now is, this shall also pass. Everything is a cloud, passing cloud. And anytime we come across, any difficulty, just think of this will pass. So think of the next moment when this is gone. So most of the time we are stuck in that moment of that. But even in many years, this has been something in my mind all the time. Even my kids, I tell them, when they are struggling with an exam that's coming up, think about the day after the exam when you come home. Think about all the freedom, you are going to get. So I think the passing cloud is a very good way of living life.
Sairam, I just wanted to express a note of gratitude. It's just based on a conversation that happened today, where I was just expressing because today I really wanted to join the study circle. And I happened to say I was going there. And then in general, it comes like, so you're a believer of Satya Sai? And I said, yes. So you were part of the India, you used to visit Satya Sai bhajans and everything. No, I never been there in India. It just started this. But the faith and the confidence with which I was able to say today is what I think you need to completely have that utmost faith to be part of the Sai Center, because we can drive ourselves one day, 2 day, but the principles or the preachings that I have been listening, which aligns with me, help me really progress to focus and give me a clarity with what is a driving factor. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to express my gratitude.
Sairam, thank you for sharing. All right, I think we are at time. Just have to turn it the other way around. But we are at time, so let's end with Om and Tri Shanti. I would strongly encourage everyone to keep thinking about how far we have come. And again, our life application is breath-based reflection. I have not had the time to change this, but though I would like to make it more non-dualistic. But for now, we will still continue with the breath-based reflection for this week. So again, let's end with Om and Tri Shanti. Thank you all for your participation and for being here today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.